Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Friday Night Fight Talk. I am, as per usual, your host Jay2006, and we got something a little different this week. So as much as in the previous episodes, I used to say that there wasn't a card the next weekend because I'm just a fucking idiot, and I didn't realize that a pay-per-view is literally the next weekend. But this time we're for real. There's actually no card this weekend. Which honestly, if it gets us out of the shit Apex events, that's fair enough. And God. The next Apex event is actually looking not terrible. Better than the Edmonton card. It is getting better though. Like we just got Ariel Helwani versus Pedro Munoz added to that card. So I think we had a few other shakeups too, and Mike Malot's back too. So it's looking like it's getting better, but believe me, I'm still worried. A women's main event can never be good, and in Canada. But yeah, we have something a little different. So there's no card this weekend. So this episode, if you couldn't tell by the sick-ass posters I've been making, this one is one of my favorites. With the good guy and bad guy themselves making a cameo. Not RC, though. RC got canceled. We have a discussion and a Q&A episode. So I think what I'm going to do is these episodes are probably going to be a little shorter. Maybe, and I don't mean by much. I mean maybe 10 minutes shorter. We'll see how it goes. If I drag on till 35, it'll drag on till 35 like usual. But mainly I am going to be answering questions that are on the Spotify comments, YouTube comments, or Verdict on the ads there. And maybe a little bit of discussion here and there. And mainly the discussion is going to be your questions. Because a lot of them are fight questions here. Most of them are. No one asks about Jay. I'm kidding. No, don't ask about Jay. So yeah. Let's get right into it. So, first question here. Most of these questions are from the same two people. So I'm only going to call them out for the first batch. So we got from Ange, not Angie. We got Ange or Ange, whatever it is. How is Ryan Spann versus OSP so low on the card? So, if you don't know, next week on the Apex card, on the prelim headliner, we have Ryan Spann versus OSP. Which, above them, we have Rong Zhu versus Chris Padilla, Trevor Peek versus Yanel Asmuz, Matt Schnell versus Alessandro Costa, and Steve Garcia versus Kyle Nelson, just to name a few. I think it's absolutely vile this is low. OSP or Spann must have done something to piss Dana off. This should probably be either main card opener or higher on the main card. Even Steve Garcia versus Kyle Nelson, that shouldn't be that high. Believe me, I love Kyle Nelson. He's Canadian. I actually have a fun story on how I met him. But OSP versus Ryan Spann, two guys that have been in the rankings, they should probably be a little higher. Anyways, this one's one of my favorite questions. Why does Matt Schnell suck so much? So I think this one purely comes from eating and recording at the same time. His chin is shit. In the lightest division, his chin is absolutely terrible. You could flick this guy on the chin and he'd be out. He'd be in the ER. It's crazy how bad his chin is. It might be top 3 worst chins in the UFC. Because all the other chins are because they're in a division where the KOs are fucking crazy. Or they're up against just constant hard hitters. This guy's getting KO'd by just about everybody. Brutally. Flatlined. And it's no wonder why he's shit. If he gets flicked in the face, he's going out. Like, if I was in the flyweight division and I wanted to pick anyone to get in the rankings, I would point at Matt Schnell and be like, I want him. Anyways, moving on to the next questions. We got three-piece. We've got, first question, Yuri at 185, who he does and doesn't beat. So this is a really good question because I'm actually really curious about how, if Yuri goes down to 185, how it goes. Because I love Yuri. I think everyone else does. And I'd really be curious to see him go down a division. Especially since, like, he walks around at, like, what, 215? He cuts, like, 10 pounds. Like, Dreykus walks around at more than him. So it would especially be good for him. I could definitely see him getting into the top of the division. Like, let's see here. Looking at the rankings, who does he beat? So I'm going to go from bottom to top here. So we got Chris Curtis. He beats him. He beats Chris Curtis. We got Michel Pereira. I think it'd be a close fight, but I still think he beats him. They're both really wonky, entertaining strikers. But I feel like Michel would have to take... He wouldn't get to control the pace as much as he normally does. He's a very fast, energetic fighter. And Yuri's more calm and precise with his strikes. So I feel like Yuri would find the good shot. And you would KO him probably if he was to win. It's still really close. Then we got Anthony Hernandez. I think he beats him there too. Hamzat, I think he beats Hamzat. I'm not going to lie. That might be a hot take. Hamzat is probably one of the most overrated 185ers. I'm sorry. He hasn't actually fought a 185er, and he's ranked 12. Like, that's vile. That's crazy. Now, granted, I would have picked him to beat Paulo Costa too. But Paulo Costa actually pulled it out of that one. That was on Paulo Costa's pull-out spree. Now Hamzat's the pull-out king. Next up, Jack Hermanson. He beats him. Roman Dolidze, get that fucker out of the rankings. He beats him too. Holy shit. Roman Dolidze is such a bum. Paulo Costa, I think he beats Paulo Costa. Brendan Allen, I believe he beats Brendan Allen. Jared Cannonier, I think he beats Jared. Based on the way he's looking. If I would say prime Jared, I would say yeah. Current Jared, oh God, I'm sorry. Marvin Vettori beats him by decision. The golden shin ain't getting cracked by Yuri. Kyle Barrio, I would say he would beat Kyle Barrio. He's a wonky style. Same with Imavov. Well, Imavov isn't that wonky, but I think I would pick him to beat Imavov. Then it starts getting closer up to the top. Like, I think I could see him beating Whitaker. But Whitaker has a more well-rounded skill set. And that's the reason why I would maybe... I'm a little cautious. Is because light heavyweight is a very, like, ungrappling... Like, there's no grappling at light heavyweight other than Magomed. And I will say, Yuri did beat the biggest grappling threat in the division at the time. He beat Glover, subbing him too. So I'm not overly worried. Just I'm worried about, like, Anthony Hernandez, for example. He's like a big... He could grapple you. He could get stunned in the beginning and then come back after and then finish you. That's what I'm worried about mainly. But Yuri, he really only seems to get KO'd by Alex. And that's about it. And he seems to come back well from them too. So I think he'd beat Whitaker. We could see a KO because Whitaker's chin is glass. And Izzy. Now, this is the fight. If Yuri goes down to 185, that's the fight I want to see. I want to see Israel Adesanya versus Yuri Prochazka on, like, a pay-per-view co-main. Like, that would be a fucking stacked co-main. Like, put that together for the end of the year or something like that. Like, the December card. And that is a really close fight. And I'm not even sure if I'm confident. Because the way Izzy's been looking, he's been looking a little worse. I will say, hot take, he didn't look terrible against Dreykus, except when he pointed at the ground. He was like, oh, I want to be submitted here. And then got submitted there. But I really don't know who'd win that fight. That's, like, the biggest one. I pick Yuri. I pick Yuri. It's super close. I'd pick Yuri. Because he's wonky enough, and Izzy's wonky enough too. And it could just be them standing at each other the whole time. but I pick Yuri. Strickland, that's another tough one because I can never bet against Strickland. I have a funny story about that. My friend, when Strickland was fighting for the title against Izzy, he was like, listen, I bet you Izzy wins tonight. I'm like, no shit, Izzy wins tonight. What do you bet? He's like, I bet my leg hair. I bet my leg hair Izzy wins tonight. I'm like, bet. I got it. You know what? Strickland wins. You shave your legs. Izzy wins. I shave mine. So I bet my fucking leg hair on Izzy here, right? Little do I know, I got my leg hair saved by Strickland. Thank God. I can never bet against the guy anymore. And that's another close fight. Because Sean would probably walk forward at him the whole time. And Yuri would just, be Yuri. He'd be wonky as shit. And I don't see him getting chinned. Honestly, I could see Yuri winning that. And I know I'm saying that Yuri's winning just about every fight here, but it looks really good for Yuri at 185. And then, do I think he beats Dricus? Goofy versus Goofy. I'm not gonna lie, I could see him beating Dricus too. They're both very well-rounded. They're both goofy strikers, but the thing with Yuri's goofy striking is that, in a way, it's technical. Sure, he has his hands down, but Dricus also is he'll throw a shot and run halfway across the cage. Yuri has his hands down. He's ready to get hit when he's just sitting there. And I could really see him, on the grappling, too. It would be close on the grappling. Everything about that fight is close. The top, 3 middleweights are really close for Yuri. But, honestly, I could see him becoming champ. Anyways. Yeah, basically, he kind of clears up the division. Next up, Shavkat's chances at beating Belal. I think Shavkat, I think people are giving him too much of a chance. Belal is really fucking underrated. As much as I hate the guy, I don't like Ian Gary more. I'll say that. But I don't like Belal that much, and he's really underrated. He's really good. And honestly, we could either see Shavkat's first decision or even a Belal win. It's not that big of a challenge. It's not that easy for Shavkat. A lot of people are just writing it off and saying that Shavkat, he's going to finish him. No problem. I don't think so. Did you see Shavkat against Jeff Neal? He was getting pieced up on the feet. He was getting fucked. And I get that Jeff Neal has really good boxing. But even Belal's boxing didn't look bad against Leon. It would be close. I would still favor Shavkat. But I'd probably put it at a 55 to 45%. Shavkat 55, Belal 45 for winning that. If you get what I mean by that. What if Alexa and Valentina have a draw again? If that unlikely shit happens again, I say we move on. We need to move on. Listen, Grassos is fighting once a year. A lot of people don't look at that. She's fighting once a year. I think that if there's another draw, it's time to move on. Because she's fighting once a year. She's fighting on the Noche cards every year. Or the big card. Yeah, I really think we just need to move on. Get Manon Fiorot in there. Or the winner of Macy Barber versus Aaron Blanchfield. That's really think who I'd have go up next. I don't think they fight again. Will Kayla Harrison be champion? Yes. I think that after she beats... who's she fighting? Shit. Ketlen Vieira. After she beats Ketlen Vieira, because I know she is, the only thing I'm worried about is that she doesn't make weight. She'll become the champion. After that, she'll get a title shot versus Juliana Pena or Raquel Pennington. I don't care, either or. She beats both of them. Easily. And yeah, that'll actually be a women's champion that I'm excited to see. Don't get me wrong, I like Weili, I like Grasso, but they don't fight that often. And I'd really like to see Kayla Harrison, because especially since she's super entertaining too. So if Jones quickly starts a Stipe, do you think he will be full of himself full of self-confidence enough to face Tom. Tom will be there. Are they going to stare down? Fuck no. No, he's retiring. He is either retiring or he's running out of there because he is going to duck Tom like a motherfucker. And I'm actually kind of worried. I think they're going to strip Tom of the interim. That's just me. Because even Chael Sonnen explained the rules. And I know I'm getting this news source from fucking Chael Sonnen. But once the champion has returned, the interim champion is stripped. The interim belt is gone. And I think they're just going to avoid Tom fighting John for as long as they can. If he doesn't retire. If he does retire, Tom will either be promoted to undisputed or will have to face the winner of Cyril Gane versus Alexander Volkov for the undisputed title. Which I think is so stupid. Just fight the guy. Stop talking about it on Twitter. Okay? I get it. You're scared. But stop. And they definitely will not face off. Dana won't let it. Dana won't let his daddy get in danger. Khamzat is so unreliable. Now there are bookies with odds of him pulling out. Does he pull out? Yeah. I don't think that fight's happening. I hate to say. We're going to... Like, I want to see that fight happen. Because honestly, I think Whittaker wins. If he doesn't get chinned, I think he wins. But I think he pulls out. I think Khamzat pulls out. His immune system, he has the immune system of a fucking newborn. Like, this guy, after the Usman fight, he was sick. He pulled out of the Whittaker fight because he was sick. Like, it's just, he looks worse and worse every time. It's looking like he's on the verge of death. Like, holy shit. But yeah, I think Khamzat pulls out. I think the odds are reliable too. Because I think Khamzat wants the fight. Because that's the best way to get to the top of the division. Even if he fights like I could see him beating Imavov or Vettori. And then they could probably just give him random shuffles up to like the number 4 ranked and just give him a title shot like what they did with Cheeto. Like, how the fuck did Cheeto work his way up to, like, number 3 ranked? That's bullshit. But, yeah. I don't think he fights. Dana stated he is working on Dreykus's next fight to be in South Africa. And also stated a while back that Sean is next. How do you think Sean is gonna be not to be able to fight in the U.S. again? Oh, he's gonna be pissed. He's gonna be pissed off, especially since he's fighting in Africa. But he'll be like, Africa, thank you. You welcomed me into your shitty fucking country, and I just want you guys to be free. I want you all to be free. He's gonna be people's champion again. Like what he did in Canada. Fucking Canada, guys. Thank you. I know the card was shit and I got robbed, but fucking yeah. But he's gonna be pissed off. But I don't think he's gonna be like baby rage because he literally turned down the Costa fight at first, and then Costa called him out on it. He was like, "Fine, fuck it, I'll do it." And saved 302 because that card was looking so bad. That card still was shit. I'll stand by it. I think 302 was ass. Not as bad as 297, but it was pretty bad. But yeah. Whew. Am I done with all the questions? I think so. Okay, how much time we got left? All right, 5 minutes. So, fuck it. You know what? I'm gonna tell my goofy ass story of when I met Kyle Nelson. So Kyle Nelson, he's fighting next week from Canada. I'll say probably my favorite Canadian prospect, maybe because I met him like a year ago, but yeah. So it was my second fight. It was my second fight. And I was shitting bricks. And I was warming up, and my coaches hadn't showed up yet. And they were late that day. Traffic was bad. Toronto traffic, if you're from Canada, you know Toronto traffic is shit. And they got the meeting, and I met his coach too. Like, I met his whole team. And I walk through, and I look at the MC, like the announcer, like the Bruce Buffer of this card. And he's in like this really like old, like Peaky Blinders clothing. And I look closer at him, and I'm like, is that fucking Kyle Nelson? Is that Kyle Nelson? And I went back into the warm-up area, and I was later on the card, and that card was really delayed. And I got up there, and I started walking out. It was For Whom the Bell Tolls, so it was like ba 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 na 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 da da. And all I could think about is that fucking Kyle Nelson in the cage? And I get in, and I see him with the microphone after he just said my name. And I'm like, that's Kyle Nelson. That's fucking Kyle Nelson. And right there in that moment, as we're doing we're sealing the ring. In Muay Thai, you have to seal the ring. It's a traditional thing. And actually, I have a funny story about the opponent too, but I was sealing the ring, and I gave my gratitude to the other corner's coach. My other corner the opponent did not do that to my corner, I'll just say that. And I was walking back, and I look, and I'm like, that's fucking Kyle Nelson. So I end up fighting. I fight the guy. I'm not gonna lie, I pulled a Khabib. I was clinching a lot, but I was active clinching. It was with the knees. And when we're done, so I'm in the middle, and I'm waiting to get my hand raised. I'm like, that's fucking Kyle Nelson. He's about to say my name that I won, and then I heard my name, and I just raised my hand. I was like, woo! I fucking won. I was like, excuse me, are you fucking Kyle Nelson? He's like, oh, yeah. What's up? And I'm like, listen, good luck on 289 in, like, a week, dude. I'm surprised you're here doing this. Like, thank you, though. And he was like, oh, yeah, no problem. And then I think I got a picture with him. I got to see if I still have it. But I'm pretty sure I have a picture with him. I think he's the only fighter I've ever met. Like, a UFC fighter. I've met several guys from one championship. I trained with Tawan Shai, and Carrillo, if you know who they are. Also, if you know Nathan Corbett, he's known as Carnage. He was, like, old, like, when the UFC was just starting, he was the Muay Thai world champion, but Muay Thai was never that big. Even now, one championship is the biggest it's ever gotten. But yeah, so that's how I met Kyle Nelson. I'm gonna say I think we cut this episode short. I think that's like Shavkat smack the hands together. I think I'm done because there's not much to talk about. And I went through all the questions. Yeah, I think I might just cut this episode short, guys. I'm not gonna lie. If you wanted to be longer, complain about it. Also, big thanks to Angie, whatever his name is, Ange, for the 5-star review. Holy shit, I did not expect that. And whoever left the other 5-star review, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I never expected anyone to give this like full 5 stars. I didn't think I'd be that good, but we're coming for good guy, bad guy. We'll get RC on our side because he got kicked off that podcast for the Canada card. This is why Canada can't have good things. This is why Raquel Pennington versus Mayra Bueno Silva never should have happened. DC and RC would still be here, but now we have good guy, bad guy. I kind of like it more. Anyways, that's it. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, please leave it on the app, Verdict, YouTube, Spotify, whatever. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week when there's an actual card. Bye-bye.